If you are thinking, I have money, but I don't know what to invest in, then today's video is for you. If you are thinking there are too many investment options and I just don't even know where to start, I'm going to cover what I have invested in that has worked well for me. I am Tiffany Thomas, your wealth mentor. I achieved financial freedom in my 30s and became a millionaire at 40. I'm here to help you do that even earlier and easier. Let's dive right in. All right, first, congratulations if you have money to invest, but you just don't know what to invest in, because a lot of people don't have money to invest yet. So great job on taking that step and having money to invest. I first want to cover a few tips that is going to help you make investing a lot easier. And then I'm going to share what I have invested in that has helped me to become financially free and become a millionaire. First off, we want to set an investment goal. What is the reason we are investing? Is it to become financially free? Or is it to save up for a down payment on a house that we want to purchase? Or do we want to just learn how to invest or have fun with investing? What is our specific investment goal? That's the first thing that we want to do when we are starting to invest our money. Once we have that goal, it is going to make it a lot easier to choose our investments. For me, I wanted to achieve financial freedom. That's why I was investing my money. And honestly, I didn't know in the beginning that I could achieve financial freedom in my 30s. I thought I would just have to work until age 65. But I started seeing people that were retiring early that had become financially free in their 30s and their 40s and 50s, and some even in their 20s. So once I saw that possibility, that is immediately why I wanted to invest my money, to create financial freedom for myself. And I set a specific age that I wanted to have that happen. I actually set the goal of achieving financial freedom at 40, but I did it a couple years earlier. And one of the reasons is because I set my goal in the first place. I also made it very specific. I knew the exact amount I would need to have in order to become financially free. So that was the amount that I was working towards. Write down your investment goal and make sure that it is specific and that you have a time frame with it. And when you are looking to invest your money, you definitely want to be, of course, smart about this. We don't want to just trust anyone with our money, and we don't want to be investing in things that we don't understand. At least this is how I feel. I invested in something that I did not fully understand, and I lost thousands of dollars because of that. I had a 401k rep at my previous employment, and he had recommended I invest in whole life insurance, and I didn't really understand what the policy was. I didn't read through all of the paperwork. There was a lot of paperwork, but I just trusted him and thought, well, he knows what he's talking about. I'll go ahead and set up my life insurance policy. And after I had done that and already put money toward that policy, and I started doing a research later on and found out that that was not the best investment for me to make. So I ended up canceling that life insurance policy, losing thousands of dollars. But I also learned a lesson. I learned not to invest in things that I do not fully understand. And I also learned to be careful on who I trust. Going forward, I started asking people that did not have a bias or that were not working for some sort of financial company about investment topics. For example, I started asking one of my friends who is very successful with real estate. He's not a real estate agent or a real estate broker. He is just an investor. And so I asked him about that, and he started telling me how his experience was going and how I could do it for myself. And so I ended up investing in real estate, which we will get into later in the video. I also talked to one of my previous bosses because he was investing in real estate as well, and he did not have a real estate license or anything like that. He was just an investor, just like my friend was. So I asked him questions and got advice from him. I was able to educate myself by asking mentors and not just trusting someone blindly. And to share one more example with you, I was recently talking to one of my friends that I hadn't seen in years, and he was telling me that he was struggling with what to do because he had made investments in real estate with other people. One of them was his friend, and another was, I think, a friend of his friend. And he had created this partnership, but they did not have a written agreement. And he thought he was doing certain things and thought they were doing certain things, and then come to find out they were not on the same page. And now he's trying to decide if he should just try to pay them out of these investments or actually sell one of his other investments to get out of this investment because he created this partnership, but he did not have anything written down. So it's going to be really hard for him to try to prove how this was originally formed if there is nothing in writing. And while I was listening to his story, I did feel bad for him. And I also kept thinking, I'm really glad that I did not get into a partnership with someone else because I did have the opportunity to do that. And while I do feel bad for my friend, I'm also thinking we really need to be careful who we are trusting again, and also have things in writing, have everything written out so that we know exactly what we are getting into. Okay, and now let's get into the ways that I have invested my money that have worked the best for me to help me create financial freedom and become a millionaire. The first way is in the stock market. And I honestly keep my stock market investing pretty simple. I have about 10 different individual companies or stocks that I invest in. And then I also invest in an index fund. So depending on how hands-on you want to be, you can definitely invest in individual companies. Just make sure you are doing your homework on those companies. Or you can make it a little bit easier and choose an index fund. And if you want to know what my favorite index fund is, I have another video. I will leave a link above. You can check it out later on. But essentially an index fund has a whole bunch of companies or even bonds inside of just one single fund. So you're able to make one investment in this fund and get exposure to a lot of different companies, which means you are diversifying. So you don't have to worry as much about losing all of your money because you're not just invested in one single company. For example, you're not just invested in only McDonald's or only in Costco if you're just buying an individual stock and putting all of your money into that one stock. That is high risk and low diversification. So the chances of losing all of your money are pretty high by investing in just one single company. But if we can invest in an index fund, which has a whole bunch of companies inside of it, we're going to reduce our risk of losing all of our money. And if we do lose all of our money with an index fund, then I think something else is going wrong in the world, and I hope you have your food storage. And for me, with investing in the stock market, I'm able to even automate this. I have a certain amount that comes out of my checking account every single month to my investment account, and it gets directly invested into that index fund. So I can be pretty hands-off with that investing. But yes, I do need to keep an eye on my individual stocks that I own, because if one of the companies starts to not do so well, then I can definitely sell that investment and put it into something else. The stock market has definitely been very successful with me, and on average, the US stock market returns 10%, which is a pretty good average return. And some years I've seen a lot higher than that, and some years, like 2022, it was a lot lower than that. But if you can keep that long-term perspective, you're going to do a lot better with your investing. That is another tip that I want to share with you. If we are so focused on the short term, we are going to be a lot more stressed, and we're going to have to watch our investments all of the time. And we will probably sell our investments when they are low and buy when they are high instead of doing the opposite. So if we can keep that long-term perspective, then we can realize what we are investing in is a good investment and continue to invest when the price is high or when it is low or when it is in the middle, and realize it's going to go up over the long term. And if you are thinking, I'm not really sure about investing in the stock market, I don't know how to do that, I have a free masterclass where I go over how I can help you invest in the stock market. I will leave a link below in the description. You can click on that and check out the free masterclass. And then the second way that I have been able to invest my money is in real estate, in particular buy and hold real estate properties. And I am really glad that I have done this. This was a big part in me being able to become financially free, because I'm able to live off of the cash flow that I receive from my rental properties and also from my roommate. One of the reasons I really like investing in buy and hold real estate properties is not only for the cash flow that I receive every single month, but I can leverage other people's money. I can take out a mortgage. I only have to have a certain percentage for a down payment. It's usually a 20% down payment if you are having it be strictly a rental property, but you can even do as low as 3% if you are moving into that property and then having roommates or renting out the basement. So you can purchase a real estate property for a really low percentage in comparison. And of course, with the stock market, you can start with as little as $5. So if you have a small amount to invest, you can definitely start with the stock market and build your wealth that way, and then get into real estate later on if you want to. And of course, real estate is semi-passive. There is going to be work that needs to be done with real estate investing, but it is still not a 9-to-5 job. It does not take me 40 hours a week to manage all of my properties. And perhaps it would if I had a lot more properties, but I don't, and I don't mind keeping that small amount so that it is still manageable for myself and I am still creating the cash flow that I want to. And if you are interested in getting started in real estate, I have another video where I go over how you can purchase your first real estate investment property. I will leave a link above and you can check it out later on. And another great thing about real estate investing is the appreciation of the properties over the long term. I actually sold one of my properties not too long ago, and I was able to about double my money within 5 years and create cash flow from that property. And I realize it doesn't always happen that quickly, but sometimes it does. But if we're able to keep that long-term perspective and we get lucky in the short term, then that's great. But of course, we can definitely keep our properties for the longer term, and they will go up in value over time, as long as we are picking good properties and good locations, which is part of my investing strategy. And you can invest in real estate inside of the stock market. You can purchase what's called a REIT, a real estate investment trust. And I personally don't do this because I have physical real estate properties. But if you're looking to do this, I would just make sure and take a look at the fee associated with that REIT, the expense ratio, and make sure it is low enough that you're going to make a good enough return that it will be worth it to invest in that REIT. So if you have money to invest and you're wondering what to invest in, these two are two great options, at least they have been for me. And I just want to say that I personally waited too long to invest the majority of my money. I had way too much sitting in my savings account. And when I actually started investing that money, when I purchased that first rental property, and when I started purchasing my stock market investments, I started to see my wealth grow exponentially. And my biggest regret was not investing my money sooner. So if you do have money to invest, I would say get it invested sooner than later, and make sure that you have an investing goal so that you know what's going to be best for you to invest in. All right, comment below and tell me what you're going to invest your money in. I'm curious to know. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information, and hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you want to see even more great content from me, make sure and check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.